Victor Wembanyama. He's already putting up over 25 points and nearly 13 boards a night, and he's only in year 3. The Spurs aren't just rebuilding, they're building around him. His usage rate is wild, and his defense impact is basically unmatched. This guy's blocking everything, and his rebounding numbers sit near the top. The mid-range is getting more love from him too, as his three-point attempts have dropped while his rim attacks and free throws keep going up. That blood clot situation last season was scary, but he's back now and cleared. Long term, he'll get that max deal after the rookie contract's done. They'll pay whatever it takes. If his current arc continues, he'll be averaging close to 30 points and 5 blocks within the next few seasons. He's only 21, so the ceiling? Nowhere near reached. He's still learning when to shoot, when to pass, and how to bully smaller defenders. Once the Spurs add more pieces around him, he'll be the anchor of a legit contender. And with how dominant he already is, that timeline's not far off. Everything points to him being one of the best two-way bigs of the next decade. LeBron James. He's playing in his 23rd NBA season right now, making history as the first ever to do it. After picking up a player option worth over $52 million, he locked in with the Lakers through this season. No extension was offered, which definitely says something about how they're thinking. At 41 years old, he's still putting up serious numbers. Last season, he averaged around 24 points, over 8 assists, and nearly 8 rebounds across 70 games. He started this year recovering from sciatica, but was cleared for contact. The team's shifting toward younger leadership, especially with Luka now in the mix. That changes LeBron's role, possibly limiting his minutes or turning him into more of a mentor. Retirement's on the table after this year, but if he plays well, a short extension or free agency move in 2026 could still happen. Giannis Antetokounmpo. He's averaging over 34 points, 13 rebounds, and 7 assists this season, and he's doing it with brutal efficiency. The Bucks locked him up with a 3-year extension back in 2023, so he's under contract through at least 2027 with a player option for 1 more. He's still just 30, and while physical decline is coming eventually, he hasn't shown it yet. His game remains built on strength, speed, and attacking the rim. The team around him, still evolving. They've added shooters and role players, but playoff results haven't matched his production. Trade rumors have picked up, and he's been open-minded about where he might finish his prime. That said, Milwaukee still sees him as their franchise anchor. If he stays healthy, expect him to dominate for at least another few years. Whether that's in Milwaukee or not, that's the part still up in the air. By the way, if you guys want to subscribe, I'm going to be posting every day. Thanks. Anyways, Nikola Jokic. He's deep into his prime, still under that enormous 5-year deal through 2027 with a $62 million player option after that. He's holding off on an extension, and it's not random. Waiting could land him a 4-year deal worth nearly $300 million. He's already won 3 MVPs, and getting a 4th would push him into elite territory with the all-time greats. The Nuggets are still built entirely around him, and nothing's changed there. He said he wants to stay in Denver forever, and so far, his actions match that. He's still putting up massive numbers, and even dropped a 30-20-20 game last season, something no one else has done. At 30, he's still the best offensive engine in the league. As long as he stays healthy, these next few seasons will shape his legacy, his earnings, and where he stands in NBA history. Devin Booker. He's locked in with Phoenix through at least the 29-30 season after signing a 2-year extension worth around $145 million. That deal gave him the highest annual average extension in NBA history at the time. He's made it clear he wants to stay with the Suns, but not if they hit reset again. The team traded away Kevin Durant and didn't add a strong point guard, which leaves Booker as the primary creator without much relief. He's in his prime, and the pressure is on the front office to build the right roster around him. The Suns still control his contract, but if they waste these years, trade rumors will only grow. Booker has influence in organizational moves, including coaching hires. He wants to win now, not later. If Phoenix stalls, they risk losing their most loyal and valuable piece, Flagg. He's just 18 and already the centerpiece of Dallas's next era after being taken first overall in the 2025 draft. The Mavericks traded Luka and picked up Anthony Davis, handing Flagg a veteran-loaded roster instead of a typical rookie rebuild. He's got Kyrie, Davis, and even Klay Thompson guiding him, which gives him a unique launch pad. Kyrie's mentoring him, calling out Flagg's ability to handle pressure, while Davis has made it clear the vets will shield him early. That means no rush. Dallas wants him to grow gradually and absorb as much as he can. This team's still chasing wins, so Flagg's development will happen inside a competitive, structured environment. His role will increase year by year, but they're not asking him to be the savior on day one. That mix of patience and pressure sets him up for a steady, long-term trajectory. Luka, he's now the face of the Lakers after being traded from Dallas in February 2025. The team followed that move with a 3-year, $165 million extension that keeps him in Los Angeles through at least the 2028 to 2029 season. The Lakers made it loud and clear. This is Luka's team now. At 26, he's entering his prime, and everything from roster decisions to marketing is being built around him. He's already a 5-time All-Star and a multiple-time All-NBA player, so the talent is not in question. The key now is roster support. They're not rebuilding, they're competing. If things align, Luka has the tools to lead deep playoff runs, but the Lakers' window with him is now, and wasting it would be a massive failure. Shai, he just led the league in scoring, won MVP, Finals MVP, and took the Thunder to a franchise-best 68 wins, all in the same season. At 27, he's smack in the middle of his prime and just signed a 4-year Supermax extension worth over $300 million. That locks him in through at least 2031. His averages last season, over 32 points, 6 assists, and 5 rebounds on nearly 52% shooting. That combo puts him in rare air historically. He's not just putting up numbers, he's doing it efficiently and leading a top team. The next step, sustaining it and winning deep in the playoffs. Championships will determine how high his legacy climbs, but he's on track for all-time guard conversations if he keeps this up. Right now, he's the face of Oklahoma City and one of the most dominant players in the league, Anthony Edwards. He's only 24 and already looks like the long-term face of the Timberwolves. Minnesota picked him first overall in 2020 and backed it up with a 5-year extension worth up to $260 million. He made the All-NBA second team in 2024, then led the league in three-pointers, made last season with 320, breaking franchise records along the way. His athleticism and highlight plays fuel his growing brand, and he's got a signature shoe deal already. He's the top scoring option, the main defensive presence, and the clear franchise cornerstone. The Wolves now have to build a serious contender around him. His next steps, keep improving his all-around game and lead this team deep into the playoff. If Minnesota delivers on the roster side, Edwards has everything needed to be one of the league's marquee stars for years to come. Steph Curry, he's 37 and still producing at a high level, averaging 24.5 points and 6 assists last season. He followed that up with 22.6 points in the playoff. In July, he signed a 1-year extension worth over $62 million, keeping him with Golden State through the 2026 to 2027 season. Curry says he's taking things 2 years at a time, and that fits the team's current window. He remains the face of the franchise, and the Warriors are still building around his shooting, leadership, and presence. His minutes and usage may drop, but he's still elite. The Warriors need to support him with a deeper roster to stay competitive. With multiple championships and MVPs behind him, what's left is how he finishes. The franchise will define this next stretch by what they do with the time he's still on the floor. Jalen Brunson, he's locked in with the Knicks through at least 2028 after signing a 4-year, $156 million extension in July. That deal includes a player option, but by signing early, he passed on nearly $100 million more, choosing team flexibility over personal max money. He averaged 28.7 points, 6.7 assists, and made his first All-Star appearance last season. In August, the Knicks named him team captain, their 36th ever, making his leadership role official. He's now the franchise's top scorer, primary playmaker, and the player everything runs through. New York has built around him, and his deal aligns perfectly with his prime years. Brunson's unselfish contract and rising production give the Knicks a real foundation. Over the next 5 years, he's not just leading the team, he is the team. The Knicks finally have a face to build around their title, hopes around, and it's him, Donovan Mitchell. He signed a 3-year, $150.3 million extension with the Cavaliers in July, keeping him in Cleveland through at least 2027 with a player option for 2028. That deal locks him in during his prime, as he's now 29 and still playing at an elite level. Last season, he averaged 26.6 points and a career-high 6.1 assists, despite missing time with injury. He's a 5-time All-Star and the clear franchise anchor. The Cavs are building around him with Darius Garland and Evan Mobley, aiming to compete in the East now, not later. Mitchell took this extension despite earlier trade rumors signaling commitment. The player option gives him future flexibility too, If he maintains this level of production, these next 3 to 4 years will shape both his Cleveland legacy and his standing among elite guards in the league. Paolo Banchero. He's the face of the Magic and just locked in for 5 more years with a max extension worth up to $287 million. That deal includes a player option and ties him to Orlando through his prime. Last season, he averaged 25.9 points, 7.5 rebounds, and 4.8 assists. Clear signs he's already producing like a top-tier forward. Across his first 3 seasons, he's averaged over 22 points and contributed across the board. Orlando made him the #1 pick in 2022, and now he's their franchise cornerstone. The team has to build smart around him because his window and the franchise's future are fully linked. He's only 23, and his contract sets the tone for the Magic's long-term plans. If the roster improves and playoff success follows, Banchero could go from rising star to league-wide powerhouse. Thanks to DraftKings Sportsbook for sponsoring this video. Basketball's officially back, and every night feels like a highlight waiting to happen. If you love watching hoops, there's no better way to stay involved in the action than with DraftKings Sportsbook. Here's the offer. New customers bet $5 and get $300 if your bet wins. Paid in bonus bets, plus get 3 months of NBA League Pass no matter what. That means you're catching every dunk, clutch shot, and overtime thriller even if your first bet doesn't hit. Just sign up using promo code HOOPSEXPLAINED. Make that first $5 bet, and you're in. It's that easy. You'll get to watch games live and use your bonus bets on any upcoming matchups you want. DraftKings makes betting simple and exciting. You can go live mid-game, follow every score in real time, or build same-game parlays for a shot at an even bigger payout. And with League Pass included, you'll never miss the moments everyone's talking about the next day. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, sign up using promo code HOOPSEXPLAINED, and start playing today. New customers bet $5 and get $300 if your bet wins, plus 3 months of NBA League Pass no matter what. Kevin Durant. At 37, he's still putting up elite numbers, over 26 points per game last season on more than 50% shooting. And now, he's locked into Houston with a 2-year, $90 million deal that includes a player option for 2028. The Rockets brought him in via a massive 7-team trade and extended him immediately, signaling that he's not just a short-term rental. He's the veteran centerpiece of a young, talented roster. In Houston, structured his deal below the max to keep flexibility. Durant continues to climb the all-time scoring list and is showing no signs of slowing down. This stage of his career is about legacy, mentoring, contending, and finishing strong. The Rockets give him a platform to do all 3. If he stays healthy, he'll finish top 5 in career points and cement his place among the all-time greats, with a real shot at closing his career on his terms. Cade Cunningham. He just had a breakout year. 26.1 points, 9.1 assists, and 6.1 rebounds per game, earning his first All-Star selection and a spot on the All-NBA third team. That recognition triggered a bonus in his rookie max extension, reportedly pushing it to around $269 million. Detroit drafted him #1 overall in 2021, and now, at just 24 years old, he's fully cemented as the Pistons' franchise cornerstone. His leap in both scoring and playmaking helped lead Detroit back to the playoffs, showing they're finally turning a corner. The front office has to keep building a roster that complements him. He can carry a lot, but not everything. If the Pistons deliver the right support, Cade's trajectory could put him in the conversation with the league's best guards over the next 5 years. Kawhi Leonard. He signed a 3-year extension with the Clippers in January of 2024, worth around $152 million, with a player option for the final season. That keeps him in Los Angeles through at least 2027, but health remains the biggest variable. Leonard is now 34 years old and has dealt with major knee issues, missing most of the 2024 season and being ruled out indefinitely to start 2025 with ongoing inflammation. When he's on the court, he's still elite. Two-way impact, efficient scoring, and big game poise. But the Clippers are clearly managing his role and minutes to preserve availability. The team is built around him, but his window as a primary star is narrowing. Kawhi's future is secure in the short term, but each season carries more weight now. Availability, adaptation, and team stability will determine how his legacy closes out. Jalen Williams, drafted 12th overall in 2022, he's quickly become a core piece for the Oklahoma City Thunder, and now an NBA champion. He was instrumental in the Thunder's title run, including a 40-point performance in Game 5 of the finals. At just 24 years old, Williams is entering his prime right as the Thunder's competitive window fully opens alongside Shai and Chet Holmgren. His rise from a mid-major college to a title-winning starter shows just how far his trajectory could go. Williams is positioned to be a major part of the Thunder's future, not just as a contributor, but potentially as a leader. Jalen Brown, at 29 years old, he's in his prime and locked into a 5-year Supermax contract with the Boston Celtics worth up to $285.4 million, possibly over $300 million with incentives, running through at least the 2028 season. Despite some off-season trade interest around the league, Boston made it clear they are not looking to move him. With Jason Tatum sidelined for the season due to an Achilles injury, Brown steps into the clear leadership spotlight. He's a 4-time All-Star, an elite two-way wing, and now the highest paid player on one of the league's most expensive rosters. The Celtics are counting on him to carry more scoring, playmaking, and leadership than ever before. Evan Mobley. The Cavaliers locked him in with a massive extension worth over $220 million, and he's already proving why. Mobley's numbers last season weren't just solid. They showed a leap: 18.5 points, over 9 boards, more than 3 assists, all on over 55% shooting. He's still only 24, and he's already the Defensive Player of the Year. That's not just big for him, it's historic for Cleveland. He's turned into the anchor of their defense, and his early season numbers suggest even more growth: 20 points, 9 rebounds, over 4 assists. The cap hit from his extension does mean the team has to be smart with roster depth, but with his ability to contribute on both ends, they've got something special. What matters most now is postseason success. The contract is big, the expectations are bigger. If Mobley keeps trending up and stays healthy, he could define this era of Cleveland basketball. No exaggeration, the pressure's real, and he's right in the middle of it. Thompson. The Rockets spent the 4th pick in 2023 on Thompson, and by his second year, he had already earned all defensive first-team honors. That was rare air for someone who was only 22. In the 2025 season, he averaged over 14 points, 8 boards, nearly 4 assists, and made an impact with blocks and steals. He stood around 6 feet 7 inches and played both guard and forward, giving Houston tons of flexibility on the court. They picked up his 4th-year option, keeping him under contract through 2027. He wasn't just playing spot minutes. His role kept growing. The defense was real, and his awareness stood out. Offensively, he showed flashes, but still needed polish, especially with shooting and decision-making. Still, he gave them a cost-controlled piece to build with. If his scoring catches up to his defense, Houston might have something serious. Tyrese Haliburton. The Pacers gave him a 5-year deal worth up to $260 million, and by the end of the 2025 season, he made All-NBA 3rd team. He averaged around 18 points and over 9 assists while leading Indiana to the finals. But in Game 7, everything stopped. He tore his right Achilles tendon. That injury means he's missing the entire season. His cap hit stays massive at over $45 million, so the front office now has to tread carefully. Before the injury, his numbers showed high-level efficiency, elite playmaking, and very few mistakes. He's still only 25, but an Achilles tear always brings questions. Indiana's stuck navigating a crucial season without their cornerstone. If he returns strong in 2026-27, their window reopens. But until then, they've got serious challenge. James Harden. He signed a new 2-year deal with the Clippers worth over $81 million, locking him in through at least 2026. He declined his original player option, took the new deal, and lined it up with Kawhi Leonard's contract. At 36 years old, he's still putting up big numbers: 22 points, nearly 9 assists, and close to 6 rebounds last season. He even earned All-NBA honors again. The Clippers clearly still believe he matters, and the short-term contract gives both sides flexibility. His cap hit sits over $36 million for this season, so the team has to manage the roster carefully. With his age, it's not about volume anymore. It's about leadership, efficiency, and smart usage. These next 2 seasons probably mark the final chapter of his prime window. Whether that ends with a title or just more stats is what's left to watch. Anthony Davis. After signing a 3-year extension with the Lakers in 2023, Davis was traded to the Mavericks in February. He averaged nearly 25 points, over 11 rebounds, and more than 3 assists in the 2025 season, playing in 51 games. Now at 32, Davis enters the next season with a fresh role on a new team and a contract worth around $186 million. Dallas has to manage cap space carefully with his salary and build a roster that fits around him fast. If he stays healthy, his production could still stay elite, especially on defense and the glass. But history says availability is a question. The Mavericks don't have endless time. His prime is closing. The next 2 to 3 seasons are the key window, and it all depends on fit, health, and how smart the roster building really is. Alperen Sengun. He's only 23 and just signed a 5-year deal worth $185 million, with a player option at the end. In the 2025 season, he averaged over 19 points, 10 rebounds, and nearly 5 assists across 76 games. Then he pushed that even higher, over 22 points, more than 8 rebounds, and 7 assists per game recently. That's not normal center production. He made his first All-Star game last season and showed he's more than just promising. He's producing. The Rockets see him as a cornerstone, not just a piece. His contract gives Houston flexibility while locking in a potential star through his prime. The passing, scoring, and rebounding combo already separates him. Now it's about efficiency, defense, and team success. If he checks those boxes, we're not just talking about a fun player, we're talking about a franchise-changing one. Pascal, after putting up over 20 points, nearly 7 boards, and 3 assists per game last season, Pascal capped it off by winning Eastern Conference Finals MVP. That pushed the Pacers into the finals and solidified his roles as a leader in Indiana. He's 31 now, which means the franchise has to act fast. His prime years aren't unlimited. He's listed at 6 feet 8 inches and about 245 pounds, giving the team a physical, versatile forward who scores, rebounds, and defends. He's already won a title before, and now he's chasing another with a new squad. The Pacers need to surround him with smart pieces, shooters, rim protection, and consistent depth. His production is still strong, but they'll want to manage wear and maximize his minutes. His deal and role both suggest urgency. The next few years might be the window, and Indiana knows it. Chet Holmgren. The Thunder gave him a 5-year deal worth up to $250 million, locking in a core piece of their title squad. He's only 23, but he's already got a ring and set a Game 7 finals record with 5 blocks. Last season, he averaged just over 16 points, nearly 8 boards, and more than 2 blocks. He brings rim protection, floor spacing, and defensive versatility, all in a 7-footer who moves like a guard. The contract shows Oklahoma City sees him as foundational, not just complimentary. He's already shown playoff value, and his role is growing. Injury history exists. He missed his rookie year and had more missed games last season. But when he's out there, the impact is obvious. If he stays healthy and keeps developing, he's got a clear path to become one of the league's best big men over the next several years. Russell Westbrook. At 37, he's entering his 18th NBA season after signing a 1-year deal with the Kings. Last season, he averaged over 13 points, 6 assists, and nearly 5 rebounds with Denver. He declined a $3 million option before joining Sacramento, where his role shifts toward veteran leadership and bench impact. He still holds the record for most triple-doubles in league history, with 203 and sits 8th all-time in assists. He's about 500 points from becoming the highest-scoring point guard ever, passing Oscar Robertson. The Kings brought him in for experience, not star usage. His short deal gives both sides flexibility. It could be his final season. The scoring record and locker room presence are the main focuses now. His time as an MVP may be past, but legacy isn't. What he does this season adds to an already historic career. De'Aaron Fox. After getting traded to San Antonio in February, Fox signed a 4-year deal worth $229 million, locking him in through 2030. Last season ended early due to finger surgery, but the Spurs still saw enough to make him their franchise point guard. He's 27, entering prime years, and brings speed, shot creation, and big play potential. He was the first ever clutch player of the year and already an all-star. The Spurs want him to lead a young roster and push them into contention. His 3-point shooting still needs work, but the scoring and playmaking have been strong. The contract means the front office has to build around his timeline. That means shooters, rim protection, and spacing to let him operate. His health, fit, and the roster's development will define whether this investment turns into wins or just more empty stats. The window's open. Trae Young. At 27, he just led the league in assists with 11.6 per game while scoring over 24 points per night. He's still under his current deal with Atlanta, but is now eligible for a 4-year extension worth up to $229 million. His salary next season is just under $46 million, so the stakes are high. He's still one of the best playmakers in the league, but questions about his shooting efficiency and team impact remain. The Hawks are sitting at a fork in the road. Extend him or reshape the roster entirely. Young's value is undeniable, but high-usage guards with max deals require near-perfect roster construction. This next phase of his career will be all about fit, growth, and results. If Atlanta builds right, they've got a star locked in. If not, the window might close faster than they planned. It's decision time. Jason Tatum. Before the injury, he was putting up over 26 points, nearly 9 boards, and 6 assists per game, while leading Boston as their franchise cornerstone. At 27, he's in his prime, but a ruptured right Achilles in the playoffs changed the short-term outlook. He had surgery in May, so his availability for this season is in question. His contract and role make him the centerpiece of the Celtics' strategy, so the roster must adjust accordingly. If he recovers fully, he could return to top-tier form with strong production across the board. The Celtics will need to manage his minutes early and surround him with depth, shooters, and defensive help. He's efficient, but still has room to grow, especially from beyond the arc. How Boston supports him post-injury will shape both his legacy and the team's future. The next 3 seasons are everything. Tyrese Maxey. Through the first stretch of the 2026 season, he's one of the top scorers in the league at 33.5 points per game. He just dropped 43 against Orlando without Joel Embiid, showing exactly why the Sixers gave him a massive extension. He's also averaging close to 9 assists and shooting around 46% from the field, which is a huge jump in both volume and playmaking. At 25, Maxey's stepping fully into a franchise player role, not just as a scorer, but as a leader. With Embiid's health always a factor, the Sixers are clearly leaning into Maxey's rise. He's entering his prime with the ball in his hands, real usage, and team resources behind him. If he stays efficient and expands his playmaking, he'll be in that upper tier of guards for years. The team's future is already starting to revolve around him, and it makes sense. Morant, he's under contract with the Grizzlies, but everything around him feels unstable. After a 1-game suspension for conduct detrimental to the team and public comments about not enjoying the game, red flags are piling up. He's still one of the most explosive guards in the league, but between behavioral issues, shooting inefficiency, and injuries, his trade value is taking serious hits. Memphis says they're not shopping him, but the chatter's growing. Teams are hesitant. His contract is huge, and his off-court reputation is a concern. If things spiral, a trade could happen. Turn wouldn't match his peak value. Younger players and protected picks are more likely than a superstar swap. The next few months matter. If he refocuses and leads, the noise fades. If not, this could go from smoke to fire. Right now, the league is watching, but not exactly rushing in. Zion Williamson. At 25, he's still one of the most dominant forces in the league when healthy. Last season, he averaged nearly 25 points, 7 rebounds, and over 5 assists, but only played 30 games before a back injury shut him down. Now in 2026, he's already missed time again with a hamstring strain. His salary this year, just under $40 million, rising to nearly $45 million by 2028. The Pelicans are still committed. He's their franchise centerpiece, and they've built around him accordingly. He showed up leaner this season, reportedly more focused, and opened strong with a 29-point performance before the setback. But availability remains the story. His upside is undeniable. Elite scoring, elite athleticism, all-around impact, but he needs to stay on the floor. If he does, the Pelicans can make serious noise. If not, that contract becomes harder to navigate. The next 1 to 2 seasons are critical. Zion's future and the Pelicans depends on health, consistency, and leadership. The talent is there. The question is durability. LaMelo Ball. He's 24 years old and entering what should be his prime, but his trajectory remains uncertain. Last season, he averaged 25 points and 7 assists per game, showing elite playmaking and scoring potential. However, he was limited to 47 games due to ankle and wrist surgeries. Under a 5-year contract worth up to $260 million, he is the Charlotte Hornets' franchise cornerstone. Yet league insiders question whether he is truly the face of a winning team. To reach the next level, Ball must improve his efficiency, stay healthy, and translate talent into consistent winning. His defense, decision-making, and durability all remain question marks. If the Hornets build wisely and Ball evolves, he could become one of the league's top guards. But the next few seasons will determine whether his legacy is built on winning or just dazzling highlight reels. Joel Embiid. He's already 2 weeks into the 2026 season, and the early numbers aren't exactly screaming dominance. He's averaging around 17 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 assists. which is way below what they're used to seeing. But the real story isn't the stats, it's the knees. After missing most of last season and getting shut down in February, those left knee issues are still hanging over everything. The Sixers gave him that huge 3-year extension worth about $193 million, locking him in through at least 2028. He's 31 now, and that deal ties their entire future to his health. When he plays, the talent's still there, but missing time hurts his rhythm, his numbers, and the team's ability to compete. They're building around a guy whose body has made that a risky bet. If he can stay on the floor, they've still got a shot to make a run. But if this slow start turns into another season of limited availability, the Sixers are in trouble. Lauri, through 2 weeks of the 2026 season, he's lighting it up with over 30 points a game while shooting nearly 47% from the field. That scoring jump's pushed him into true go-to status for Utah. He's 7 feet 1 inch, 28 years old, and clearly in his prime. But now, the pressure's on the Jazz. He's eligible for a trade, and teams are already circling. The Jazz got fined for sitting him last March, which stirred up talk about how committed they really are. He's producing, but the 6.5 rebounds a game are still a little light for his size. If Utah wants to build around him, they'll need to boost their defense and rebounding across the roster. Otherwise, his high trade value might be too tempting to ignore. Either way, something's coming. He's too productive to float in limbo. Karl-Anthony Towns. He's still anchoring the Knicks with that monster contract worth over $220 million. He's 29, right in his prime, and coming off a season where he put up over 24 points and nearly 13 boards per game. He shot over 52% from the field and a wild 42% from deep. That earned him all NBA third-team honors. But now, with his salary climbing every year, expectations are sky high. New York brought him in to be a foundational piece, and the pressure's on to deliver wins, not just numbers. He's got the offensive game, no doubt, but if he sharpens his defense and stays healthy, the Knicks could actually contend. If not, the noise will grow. The team's committed long-term, so Towns' legacy depends on what happens next. Nothing's guaranteed anymore. It's time to produce. Scotty Barnes. He's now in year 1 of that 5-year extension worth around $225 million, and Toronto's made it clear he's the guy. Through 2 weeks of the 2026 season, he's averaging just over 20 points, nearly 7 rebounds, and about 4.5 assists. The efficiency's ticked up too, sitting around 52% from the field. That's progress, but it needs to keep rising, especially from deep. Last season, he put up just under 20 points a game with decent all-around stats. But the leap to true star still depends on consistency. The Raptors are rebuilding around him, and with his age and contract, the window is now. His two-way potential is real, but the team has to nail their roster moves. They can't afford to miss. If Barnes keeps climbing and Toronto gets it right, this could finally be a real foundation. Kyrie, he's 33, signed to a 3-year, $119 million deal with Dallas, and still working his way back from the torn ACL he suffered last March. He hasn't played yet this season and is targeting a return sometime in January or February. That injury ended a solid 2025 campaign where he averaged nearly 25 points over 50 games. The Mavericks doubled down on him anyway, viewing him as a core piece alongside Anthony Davis, who they brought in last season. With both players under contract through at least 2028, Dallas is locked into this timeline. The question now is how Kyrie will look post-surgery. The scoring, handles, and playmaking were all there before the injury, but coming back from a torn ACL at 33 is no small task. His performance, health, and fit next to Davis and Flagg will shape Dallas's entire future. If you enjoyed this, I'm going to be posting a lot here. I would greatly appreciate it if you could subscribe. Thanks for watching.